So this is the first day of the PTR release. It's meant to have the PvP talent changes. So I'm gonna talk about some of the PvP talent changes or lack thereof talent changes, and we're gonna have a look at some of the new renown trees. The renown goes up to 1 million now, so you can have fun grinding that. Joke. No one ever enjoyed grinding renown. And there's some new trees, and some are a little bit weird or disappointing. I'm kind of hoping some of the talents, some of the renowned trees will be changed, and hopefully it's only day one, and there'll be more PvP talent changes. But yeah, they're really fucking disappointing at the moment. Like 10 out of 10 disappointment. Like this is something they announced at BlizzCon, and like therefore it should be like a complete system or something like that. It's a fucking joke. Like if they put in like 40 new levels of renown and they put absolutely no attention into the PvP talent change, like I'm probably just gonna unsub. This is a fucking like embarrassment. But we're gonna go over it anyway, and I'll give my two bob on changes. So looking at the disc tree, absolutely nothing has changed. None of these talents have changed. So in 90% of games, you're still going to have Dome, you're still going to have Radiance, and you're still going to have Dark. That'll be 90% of games. You play a Mage, it'll be Thought Steal, and potentially this, and potentially this. You have like a Rogue Mage that actually does damage. But there is one more new choice. I think it's mainly going to be used in RBGs. It could maybe be used against druids, or teams where you might need to land a master spell to kill something. Like maybe like against Mage Paladin, you could use this because they have multiple things to master spell. So this talent is improved master spell. It makes master spells cooldown 15 seconds reduced and mana cost reduced by 30%. It's pretty good. If I get in combat, like you can see, I'll get in combat. I have like nearly full mana, and like I press it, MD, and my mana doesn't really change. And I've got the clear mind in all of my trees. So no matter what you're playing, like you can, that's pretty good. I mean, especially in RPGs, I imagine this would be pretty good. I don't play RPGs; I hate them, but I think like if you're in a team fight and you need to MD like a bunch of debuffs or something, like you could just go with this. Potentially, if you're fighting like a warlock team, maybe you could do something like you could do like PM Desperate Prayer, throw down your dome, and then MD a bunch of things off. But you're going to take a lot of damage. So like throwing down the pre-dome and this, and Desperate Prayer. My bars are kind of messed up because I copied my character over, and like it doesn't copy the general macro, so I'm missing like all this shit off my bars. If you're wondering why that is. But yeah, this was the literal only thing for Priest. So yeah, that's the great PvP talent change, boys. I think it's pretty pathetic. Some things I would change if I was doing a PvP talent change. I would make Trinity Atonement duration baseline. And I would just delete this PvP talent. Like, I think it's a fucking it's really annoying because it's such a good talent that like you're gonna need to use it like a fair bit, but it's boring. It's just a really boring passive, and you have to use one of your most inefficient spells to make use of it, which is the power word shield with no rapture. So it just feels like crap. Honestly, like it's good, but it feels like crap to use. I feel like the same way with Dome. Like in in the previous expansion, when you use Dome, you could like Dome and use like your Vita conduit with it, and that would make you could pre-Dome a go. You could like see someone running at you and like send this mass spell as Dome, like you throw out your Dome and Vita at the same time, or throw down a Voodoo Totem, and that person would live. But nowadays, you throw down Dome, and if your partner's like slightly chunked on HP, like they're in mortal peril of dying. It's just not the same thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of it kind of feels shitty. You've got like no real way of making people live if you get CC'd. Like you got no HOTS, and like you can say like purge the wicked atonement, but like or even like pre mind bendering, like Trinity and that up, like not really like that big of a deal, you know what I mean? It's not really that big of a save. And pre-doming just kind of feels like complete dog shit, to be perfectly honest with you. Like a lot of the times, it's sometimes good, but in threes especially, like people can like burst through it a fair bit. Yeah, and yeah, so that was that's that. That's basically all the stuff for disc. Holy has this as well, so that's the only thing Holy got as well. Holy did get one other spell change though, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like in 9 times out of 10, there's no reason to ever play fucking disc over Holy. I still do because I fucking hate Holy, but like 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't play it. But this spell got a change, Symbols of Hope. And now I don't know if this works in PvP, but if this does, this is outrageous. I actually think this will probably get disabled in PvP, this spell. So it does what it does before. It gives you all the mana back, but people within 40 yards of you get a minute of cooldown reduction of a major defensive ability. So let's say you're playing with a rogue and you tell them pre-cloak or pre-vanish the opener, and then you top them and then like you run behind a pillar and press this. Like, are they going to get a minute off their cloak cooldown? You know what I mean? Like, that is absolutely disgusting. Like, is it only abilities that you've pressed? Like, I know it doesn't work for yourself. I tried this before, pressing Guardian Spirit and using it, and it didn't work on yourself. So I think that's at least one good thing. But yeah, this is disgusting. Like, I mean, does this work in RBGs? Like, you press Symbol of Hope and like your whole RBG gets a minute off their like a defense. Like you press that like after a team fight or something like that. I mean, you can make this faster as well with PI. Like you just use it towards the end of a team fight or whatever. Like I don't know. This is like really retarded to me. This is like retarded squared. Like whoever thought of this should just be fired instantly. Like just idiotic. Okay, so I'll talk about some of these changes. I think there might be some more conduits coming. So this could be the only saving grace, I think, is there could be more PvP talents coming. It's only day one. And there's probably more conduits coming because 3 endurance conduits, for example, like I get to the end and there's no more space for an endurance conduit on my tree. So I've got to imagine there's more conduits coming because I mean, how is this possible? Like you can run out of you run out of spots for conduits, right? So I don't think that's going to be a thing. But the one good thing about the new tree, everybody gets a potency conduit, which is good for priests because potency conduits are your best. So everyone gets a new potency conduit. There is a finesse and a tank conduit, and then the final one. Now some of these are absolutely like awful. Some of them are absolutely awful, and I would say like none of them are particularly like good. Like I'm not really like hyped about these ones. Like check this one out. Like how is this good going to be good in PvP? Like maybe for like a shadow priest playing like shadow play, health potions and health stones grant you an absorb shield equal to 50% of the amount healed. I mean, unless you've got a warlock on your team in PvP, this is useless. So this doesn't even work in PvP like 90% of the time. This one here, nimble steps. Enemies within 8 yards are slowed by 10% if you fall below 35% health. Enemies within 8 yards are rooted 4 seconds. This can only occur once every 60 seconds. That's actually really pretty powerful. I mean, that would be a good one for shadow play too. Actually, when I think about it, like, could you imagine playing this as shadow play? Like, you get to root them, and then like, I'd imagine that the root is spellable, but maybe you can't spell it because they're all dotted. You know, so there's a question there, like how much damage can the roots take without breaking? Like, are you gonna be able to like root someone for 4 seconds with this? This is like crazy. Yeah, and then the last one, Fatal Flaw, when the haste effect of Euphoria, which is this one, I think. Yeah, when you get the buff, I think it's called Euphoria. You gain Euphoria. When it ends, you gain either 20% crit, 20% verse, whichever one is higher. So this is absolutely mental. I mean, that is very powerful for PvP. But yeah, I think this is maybe going to be the strongest tree, right? Because you're going to have like the potency. I think you can get 3 potencies with all of them. I think Theater kind of gets screwed because you've got token of appreciation under your potency here. Garbage. Anyway, I think this tree is going to be good. I think this is one of the only trees that's going to be good, like this. And with Theater, so Theater is like the meme one. Like this is the one that everyone played as disc this season as PvP, and some of the. Okay, I'll just show you. Life is but an appetizer. While you are well fed, you gain 60 speed and 60 avoidance. That is fucking shit. The only person that would use that is a fucking tank in PvE. That is fucking trash. Okay? I mean, like, what are you going to do with that? Like, does avoidance... What does avoidance give you? I can't even see. I think it gives you, like, some damage reduction from AoE spells, right? Like, you're never going to use that in PvP. Like, so what, 60 speed? Yeah, no thanks. I mean, you'll run a bit faster. And then this one here, when Soothing Shade activates, this one here, comes offer you a cup of tea, healing you for 400 health every 1 second and reducing damage taken by 5% while standing in the shaded area. So if you stand still, you reduce damage by 5% and you heal for like fuck all. Like, this is complete shit. I mean, it does have 100-yard range, but come on, like, who gives a fuck about this? And this is the most ultimate meme thing I've ever seen. And I question if this isn't like a bug on the PTR, but party favors. Once per day, you can speak to Theater in Sinful to obtain the Mad Duke's Tea, which increases your intellect by 3%, or your haste by 3%, or your crit chance by 3%, or your versatility by 3%. So I guess you can't even choose. It's either that or it's like your highest stat, right? For 1 hour. For 1 hour. You can literally only benefit from this for 1 hour. Like, is that a bug? Like, is it meant to say 24 hours and then every day you pick it up? Like, that would make more sense. But for 1 hour, you can have plus 3% on a stat. Like, I'll show you this talent here. This one here, when you're above 80% health, you gain 1% intellect, but it stacks up to 4 times. It's not even as good as this one. Like what the fuck is this? Like what the fuck? That's like your last one. Like, well, you're gonna need to get to like fucking like renown 80 something for this shit. It's fucking dog shit. Like, I literally would not even grind renown to get this. Like, if I could choose, like that's fucking trash. Okay, so let's look at the last one, Draven, which I do think is potentially like one of the better trees. I think Nadia and Draven are good, and I think like they've like memed Theater into the ground. Like, this is going to be a meme now. Like, this was probably the best PvP one for Arena last patch, but it's probably going to be fucking awful now because here's the thing, like with Nadia, the annoying thing is you have to get Agent of Chaos, and you get like, you can get three potencies in this. With Draven, you can get 3 potencies, and you can get your Finesse Conduit, and you don't have to pick up Agent of Chaos, and his ones are actually they're okay. I mean, like I said, all of these like new ones on all the characters, they're kind of shit. This one is like okay, and this one is good. So like, Nadia's is good, but you have to play Agent of Chaos to play Nadia, which sucks. But it's not quite as bad as Holy because you can stun people, and then you have an Agent of Chaos as well, because you only have a 1-minute fear if you're playing the stun. But yeah. So this one here, any overhealing done to you will heal for an additional 15% of the overhealing amount over 6 seconds. Kind of shit. Okay, if you're getting trained, I guess, and you can pick up the Finesse Conduit with the slow fear. So if you think someone's going to train you, you could like have the slow fear and have this, which is, I mean, this is pretty good. This is like, I mean, if you're going to get trained, I mean, it's just more healing, right? So it's not going to be bad if you're trained, but it's only on yourself. So it could be useless. And this is like not that offensive. So you're only really gaining some defensive stuff here. Like, I like trees that give you like offense and defense, which, I mean, you can kind of get this now. Like, you can play Shadow Perception. But yeah. Intimidation tactics. While below 50% health, Door of Shadows cools down 50% faster. That's pretty good. I mean, it's not the 2-stack Door of Shadows, but I mean, not too bad. I mean, it's only good if you get trained anyway. I mean, this is the tanking tree. You know what I mean? So I would consider maybe doing this and then putting in whatever new endurance conduit they put in. Or maybe you could put in this one. Whichever one you're not using, you just put in there. I mean, you're not actually using these ones in PvP, right? Because you're always using this, so you could always like put in the Desperate Prayer one or this one here. So Yeah, I mean, this is okay, but I mean, it's better because like some of these are actually useful, whereas this one is shit. I think that's up to your play style. And then the last one, each nearby enemy trembles at your presence, increasing your damage and healing by 1% and reducing damage and healing taken by up to 1%, maximum of 3 enemies. So, um, it it has 100-yard range, which is pretty big in PvP. You know, so you could get like 2% damage and healing done and damage. So imagine like on your disc priest, like you get 2% damage, 2% healing, 2% um percent damage taken minimum in 2v2, and then in 3v3 you get 3%. So this one I think is actually like pretty good. This one is pretty good, I think. In and it's capped at 3, so in RBGs it won't get any better than that. But 3% is like, I mean, you might look down on that, but that is like a considerable amount of defense, and you get the damage and you get the healing. So it'll be really good for atonement healing because you'll increase your damage, increase your healing, and then you increase your healing on top of that. So yeah, I think this will be the tree to go if you're still playing. I mean, you may just unsub since like this PvP talent change is like non-existent, but it is only day one, so we'll give it a chance. But I'm really like not looking forward to grinding renown to get a bunch of talents I'm not interested in. I mean, PvE, every single expansion gets 50 dungeons, 50 raids. I mean, they can't even give us like a PvP talent change overhaul. They give us like mass spell. Like, I'm fucking really disappointed. I'm taking the same boring passive talents like every expansion. Like these talents, like once you can probably heal with atonement and not have to rely on radiance, you'll probably just play these every single game, and then you'll play like this into casters or like RMP or something like that. Maybe Dome. Maybe like that. Like it's boring. It barely ever changes, and yeah, shit PvP. Talent overhaul, shit renowned. I'm not looking forward to doing this. The only saving grace I'd say as well is there's no new powers on here. So I haven't gone into Torghast and that. I don't know if we're going to be forced to upgrade our legendaries because our legendaries are actually higher item levels. So maybe if we do, maybe we don't have to. I mean, honestly, we probably will because they're going to raise the item levels. So base gear, so the legendaries will probably have to be higher. So anyway, we'll have to see. But yeah, I hope this video wasn't too long and boring. But yeah, I had to cover a fair bit of shit, and I wanted to explain it rather than um just say, oh, this is a change, it's a change. I'd rather actually talk about it a little bit. Okay, I hope this was useful.